Miami Dolphins. We've almost worked our way through the whole list. We've only got a few more left. Miami is a team that, as you heard, they could possibly end up with getting Aaron Jones in free agency. They've been making some moves. They've made the Kyle Van Noy thing happen. And now they just have to decide, are they settled on a quarterback? Is Tua Tagovailoa the quarterback of the future for the Miami Dolphins? For me, that answer has been yes since the day you drafted him, and I've never strayed from that. But with the entertaining of, could Deshaun Watson be available? Could a Deshaun Watson deal happen with the Miami Dolphins? I think it's really something to consider.
As do I. I mean, here's the thing. The Dolphins have 3 of the first 36 picks in the draft. So if they want Deshaun Watson, they can go get him.
Yep.
I mean, they have enough cap space that it makes sense. They could very easily say, we'll give you 3, 18, 36, and Tua Tagovailoa. Done. And that's the deal. We're done. If that's what they want to do, and I think that's going to be more than anybody else offers. Mm-hmm. That's more than Carolina has to offer. That's more than San Francisco has to offer. Denver, all these other teams that have been talked about with Deshaun Watson, and I think the Jets are out. So if that's what they want to do, that's what they'll do. I'm not so sure that's what they want to do. I think they're looking at the Jets right now going, why are you not more interested in him? What is it about Deshaun Watson that's making you nervous? Mm-hmm. And Joe Douglas and Chris Greer of the Miami Dolphins are currently in a standoff. We know we have the ammo to go get him if that's what we so want to do. Which one's going to blink first? And I think if anybody does, it's the Dolphins.
Right.
I'm not as convinced of that as I was a month ago. I could easily see it being Tua Tagovailoa, and they build through the draft. They already have an offensive line that I like. They need another weapon. The beauty of that is at 3, they can get whoever they want to. And I'll be honest with you, if it was me, it's Kyle Pitts. Mm-hmm. Kyle Pitts is the best weapon in this draft. It's not all that close. I'd go get him. Sweet. He's a tight end. We already have Mike Gesicki. Cool, we'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. He runs like Calvin Johnson. So if I want to play him on the outside, I'll play him on the outside. We already played Gesicki in the slot, so it's not like it's that big of a deal.
Right.
You add Aaron Jones, and all of a sudden I think this is a tremendously good offense. And then, and the beauty of doing it that way is you can build all of these pieces, and if the Tua Tagovailoa thing doesn't work out, you can go get Deshaun Watson in a year. Mm-hmm. Because I think if he doesn't go to the Dolphins, he stays with the Texans. And then it becomes an uncomfortable situation. And if he sits out a year, the ammo it's going to require to go get him is going to be markedly less.
The Dolphins have money. They have over $33 million in cap space right now. Where else other than Aaron Jones do you see them making a play?
Say that one more time. I got distracted.
I said they have the $33.5 million in cap space. Other than Aaron Jones, what's their play? Where is their biggest need to upgrade or biggest hole to fill?
I look at this team and they need a receiver. I've heard they're going to make a play on Galladay, which I wouldn't hate at all. Galladay on the other side of Devontae Parker, that would be a formidable tandem of wide receivers. Mm-hmm. I don't know that they're going to do that. I don't know that they can contend with the Colts. I think the Colts have so much money and such a need and so few needs that they can make Kenny Galladay a priority. Now, the question is, does Galladay want to play in Miami? Do you want to go to Florida? No state tax. Is the difference in money then a wash? Which it, by the way, would be. That's possible. And if they do that, then what they do I have no idea what they do at 3. If they add Galladay, I have zero idea what they do at 3. Because nothing makes sense.
Penny Sewell.
But that doesn't make sense. You just added Isaiah Wilson. Not saying that you're putting a lot into that, but this is a guy that you liked in the draft. Mm-hmm. You took Austin Jackson last year. Theoretically, you could move Austin Jackson over to right tackle, slide Isaiah Wilson into guard, play Robert Hunt at guard. But then you've got Ted Karras as well. Mm-hmm. So you add Penny Sewell, then your line is really formidable. But you have a lot of capital tied up in it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit of overkill. So if I had to make a projection, I would say they're going to make a run at Aaron Jones. I think they could very easily make a run at one of the pass rushers to fill out their defense, replace Kyle Van Noy. The secondary is already pretty good. Xavier Howard, Byron Jones is one of the best cornerback tandems in the league. And from there, you asked me about needs. They need a running back desperately. They need a linebacker desperately. If Micah Parsons somehow found a way to fall to 18, which is in the realm of possibility, I would really like him in this defense. And you need an edge guy. A lot of people think they need a tackle. I'm in love with what they've done with this offensive line. I think it's going to be very good. It might take a year,
right?
But you've done a tremendous job rebuilding this offensive line.
They do have young pieces on that offensive line. Solomon Kinley's a guy that you didn't mention. There was a guy out of Georgia that was a really good guard in college, and I think he did pretty well for his first year in the NFL. I think he's also a big reason why they went out and got Isaiah Wilson, because him and Solomon were teammates, and they're hoping that the shit went, it went sideways quick for Isaiah Wilson in Tennessee. And maybe having that, that familiar friend in your unit will help you get your head right and come back and play. Because if that happens, and if Isaiah Wilson can live up to even half of like the Tennessee Titans or the Miami Dolphins' expectations of him, this is going to be a stacked offensive line for a few years.
I agree.
And then they'll have trade pieces. And then they'll have tackles that they can trade away for more capital. They have actually done a really good job. I think this is the saddest team at the franchise tag deadline, though. When the news came out that Allen Robinson was getting tagged, I think there were some tears shed in the Dolphins front office, because
there was some tears shed right here, because I wanted Allen Robinson.
You wanted Allen Robinson with the New York Jets, but he was the number one target for a lot of teams in the offseason. I feel like the Miami Dolphins were chief among them as well. In the draft at number 3,
I think it's Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts, in my opinion. Because I don't think they're going to spend the money on a high-end receiver in free agency, because they know they have the ability to get one at 3.
Right.
Now, at 18, that becomes a little more entertaining, because then you can do a lot of things. Kwity Paye, a guy that I didn't have in my first round yesterday of my mock draft, and the reason I didn't have him in the first round is because I've heard things about conditioning and position and what does he do. He could very well wind up in Miami, because he can be multiple. If you believe in him, great. He would be a great pick at 18. I don't necessarily think that's what they're going to do. I look at Christian Barmore at 18, the nose tackle from Alabama. I would really like him in this defense. Other than that, if you don't sign Aaron Jones, you'll be looking to add a running back. I like Travis Etienne in this system better than I like Najee Harris. I like Najee Harris in more of that Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Tennessee Titans style of offense. I don't necessarily love it in Miami. And I think that Travis Etienne would definitely be a contender for their pick in the second round if they don't sign Aaron Jones.
In later rounds, if they still need a quarter or a running back, for some reason I keep seeing Chuba Hubbard in Dolphins teal.
And I don't get it. I really don't. Chuba Hubbard's going to be a guy in the NFL that tips off teams as to what you're doing immediately, because he's god-awful in pass protection.
Okay.
And with a quarterback like Tua that has an injury history, I just think it's lazy. I do. I think it's guys that are overdrafting Chuba Hubbard. NFL teams don't view him the same way you do. My thing with Chuba is that you need him paired with somebody like James White that can do the pass protection, do the pass catching, and not tip off defenses as to what you're doing.
Well, you got Gaskin.
Yeah.
Gaskin can play that role, can he?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Sure he can.
Okay.
When you have this much draft capital and this much money and this many assets, I just look at Myles Gaskin and go, if he's getting more than 5 touches a game, you're doing it wrong. I just don't think he's that good, and I never have. Maybe Miami does, but I struggle to believe that when everything I'm hearing is they're in on every running back. They're looking at every running back in the draft.
Well, it's definitely you got to upgrade. They're not going to settle for him as the number 1.
I agree.
He's not going to be a big piece of that offense. He was that this past year out of necessity.
I don't like Chuba Hubbard.
No.
And I don't expect a team that doesn't have a solid number 1 to look at him as anything more than a spellback.
I think that's kind of the role that I see him in, though.
See, but I don't see him in an offense like this.
Okay.
You need somebody like Tom Brady or Drew Brees or one of these vet quarterbacks when you have a running back like that. You put a young quarterback back there with a running back like you just can't hide it forever.
Right.
You can't hide the fact that this guy can't pass block in the least. And that's why I think Aaron Jones is so attractive to them, because he can.
I agree. Aaron Jones would be the home run pick. or pick up, I guess I should say, for the Miami Dolphins, a team that was just outside of the playoffs this past season. I expect them to fully be in the discussion, if not cemented in the playoffs next year. They've got a lot to look forward to.
They do. This is a team that doesn't have as many holes as you think, just solely because they have young guys. Okay, so the line play was not necessarily great last year. Give them a full offseason together. Give Austin Jackson a full year of playing, whether it's left tackle or right tackle, depending on what they do. I had him, Tank can verify this, I had him rated insanely highly last year. A lot of people had a huge gap between the top tackles and him. I didn't. I had him as the last tackle in that run. And I think he can be a very good lineman on this team. I think this line can be tremendous. And you give Tua Tagovailoa all the weapons to succeed. And that's what you have to do, because I don't believe in him as a high-level quarterback. However, while he's on a rookie deal, if you can pound talent around him, then all of a sudden you're going to be a contender.
Be sure to like and subscribe to the Sportsocracy YouTube channel. You get all of our off-season files as they continue.